Damn, it sure is a pretty good day being Nick, known character from Left 4 Dead 2. Why hello there, that appears to be Jockey, special infected from Left 4 Dead 2. What say you, Jockey? Oh no, my IP address has been leaked, and now special infected will show up at my door in droves. This could have been prevented with today's sponsor, ExpressVPN. I don't even really think I need to explain why a VPN is important nowadays. There are lots of ways for people to get access to your data, to get access to your stuff, all the oodles of information that you leave out and about. So having a VPN to stop that is incredibly handy. ExpressVPN is one I have used. It is especially handy whenever I'm out traveling, which hasn't been in a bit, but when I was out traveling, particularly getting on any Wi-Fi, especially ones like a hotel or the airport or something, keeping data secure is really damn important. Honestly, just having that extra layer of protection for internet and all of its various ways to get into my stuff, that feels damn good. I'd be shocked if there wasn't a reason for you to go ahead and download a VPN. And if you'd like, you may go ahead and check out expressvpn.com/Bricky in the description to immediately get 3 months of a free trial. You will also not be receiving jockeys at your door. So go ahead and click the link, expressvpn.com/Bricky, and thank you very much for sponsoring this video. Hello everyone, my name is Bricky, currently serving 10 to life for assaulting the man who made Spitter Rule 34. I did a Left 4 Dead video a few months back, just kind of talking about how it's really held up over the years and how great it still plays nowadays. And well, I want to talk about it again because a guilty pleasure of mine, well, I guess it's not really guilty. I'm not really guilty about it. It's just damn fun. It's the multiplayer, the versus mode of Left 4 Dead. It's something that I've been playing on and off for the past ever. And especially when you're getting together a big group of friends, 8 people, late at night, grabbing yourself a tiki rum Mai Tai by Cutwater. Please sponsor me. It's really fun. Some of the best gaming I've had in 2022 from a game 13 years old. Even before Back 4 Blood came out, I was dabbling in the versus mode of Left 4 Dead, but for the time it was always just playing Left 4 Dead with more people. And then I tried the Back 4 Blood multiplayer, and it was this quasi like battle royale mode version of it, and I wasn't bad per se. I don't think anything in Back 4 Blood is particularly terrible. It just made me want to play, you know, Left 4 Dead versus again, which is weird because why does a game with no progression, one of my biggest driving forces to playing video games from so long ago, with no major amounts of tuning or patches later, still invoke that itch, that enjoyment I get so much, and the reason I just spend hours and hours, nights playing with people on versus. I mean, playing with friends makes everything better. I know that, but there's more to it. It adds a layer. And so, I mean, that's why I wrote a script for a video, because I want to talk about the reasons why I think Left 4 Dead versus mode is so goddamn good, despite it being an almost 13-year-old game. And I think I want to start that off with the most obvious, the gameplay.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
So if you haven't played Left 4 Dead before, okay. Sure. But 4 players need to travel throughout a map to a safe zone in order to end the game. During this traveling from point A to point B, they fight a whole bunch of zombies, maybe complete an objective or 2 along the way, and that's basically the entire purpose of the game. Survive, kill zombies, and don't die, which is also part of surviving. But the gameplay isn't necessarily just oh, don't get hit or you'll be infected. It's all about attrition. Health is your resource, and health doesn't naturally regenerate. So things like medkits or pills or extra supplements, utility things like Molotov cocktails and pipe bombs, and the weapons you actually grab are all resources. Ammo is a resource, health is a resource, and the concept is that when you're making your way over, you need to make sure your resources don't dwindle down too far. So if you're playing as the infected in the versus mode, for example, your job is simple: dwindle the resources and make it so that they can't reach to the new safe room. Often zombies are just fodder to shoot at, right? But they serve a very important purpose, slowing down the survivor both with their use of their attacks and just existing. Being forced to shoot something, anything, will slow you down, right? But the actual zombie hitting you will slow you to basically a crawl. Now, it doesn't do much damage, but it can certainly be a nuisance. And when they keep ramping up, you'll find that the regular zombie kind of is the MVP of this game. Slowing you down like that is one thing. Having a horde of them is another. And just constantly wasting your ammo is a third. As for special zombies, the things that you will be playing as the infected, 4 of the 6 are entirely meant to incapacitate survivors: the smoker, jockey, hunter, and charger. Once you have somebody in your claws or tongue or giant masturbation arm, they can't do anything about it. It is entirely dedicated to the teammates and their teamwork to get you out of the zombie's grasp. If they don't, you'll be taking damage and damage and damage and damage until you are fully incapacitated and die. Now, there's also the tank, which you can play as, but that's like more of a boss enemy. And then there's the witch, who you can't play as, but will definitely fuck your shit. But then the other 2 you play as are boomers and spitters. Spitters are meant for actually very strong ramping damage and combo potential, and boomers are meant to harass people, bring in the horde, make people not be able to see, which is actually a surprisingly underrated power of the boomer, and overall just slow the survivors down in general. But if you've played this game, you know about it. Like, you know, you've been around the block, you've been there, done that, you grew up with this shit, right? From No Mercy to the Parish, you've done it all. Sacrifice to Dead Center. For me, I'm just reiterating bullshit you already figured out because you are a mega true gamer. But versus mode, it turns Left 4 Dead into a whole new game. And after doing a bit more research and really diving deep into it after my many hours of playing it, I can confirm there's a lot more underneath the hood than I expected.
You wanna go? You wanna go, bro?
So let's say you're playing the optimal way, right? 8 players, 4 on 4. The game's goal is the same: go from point A to point B, but the strategy and the way you do it is totally different. You now have a scoring system. It's not just about getting to the end of the map, which is of course the final objective, but now it's entirely about the score you get. Score is based on distance. Think something like payload pushing in Overwatch. Each survivor earns points by making their way through the level, and by getting to the end of the safe zone, you actually get a bonus of 25 points for surviving. So distance is king, and sometimes you'll encounter a situation where there's a ton of regular zombies, 2 of your teammates are incapacitated, and you need to make that decision of fuck them. Fuck them kids. This is a lost cause. You really want to go back to the 2 down players covered in zombies with special infected and wait? Hell no. You're going to take the time you can and you're going to book it, because booking it earns you points, because distance is important. Now, the way the levels go is that you gain the points for getting the distance, the 25 like I mentioned before for surviving, but you only get a certain amount of points per mission that actually ramps up as the missions go along. The first mission normally nets you about 400 points in total if everyone gets to the end, with an additional 25 per, so max 500. And then after that, you swap. If both teams end up getting all survivors to the exit for the extra 100 points, 25 per person, the tiebreaker arrives for an additional 25 points to whoever did more damage to the survivors as the infected. The thing is that every mission, this scales up by 100. This is actually pretty genius, because in the beginning, you might be doing really damn well and get a point lead, but that point lead never is truly a major point lead. Going from 500 points max to 6, 7, 8, sometimes even 9 really shows that those ending missions are the really big money makers. It also stops any times that might feel bad, where you just realize you can't win no matter what. There's just no possibility of having a comeback. And since the team in the lead spawns as survivors, the losing team will always know exactly how far they need to go in order to either match or exceed the opposing player's points. You'll only ever run into a moment where you know you cannot win on the final mission, but for all of them, you get a good 3 to 4 missions of decently tense back and forth. Every consecutive mission awards more points, and it just takes one really good coordinated team infected effort to stop a winning team in their tracks as you bum rush your way out and get tons of points. So once you understand scoring, you'll start getting into the tactics of Left 4 Dead 2, and the depth here is so nuts, the things you can learn and do. Left 4 Dead could have a legitimate like esports level game plan, but it's just as hype 2, wait a minute. Why is there, probably Valve related, you know, they're too busy giving money to Dota or something. Left 4 Dead 2 is so hyped to watch. It is so hyped to watch, and it wouldn't even be that hard to run. A good spectating system where you can have all the survivors' health bars, because it's mission and mission, the points scored, the comebacks. I have an idea. Left 4 Dead esports team. Oh my God, this is so smart. Teams competing against each other like that with different maps and multiple heats. I'm a fucking genius. That beside, the tactics in this game are incredible. Let's go with maps, right? Dead center. All right, you're on the big rooftops trying to maneuver your way through the balconies. Jockey. Boomer. The jockey can easily grab you and pull you off the edge. Now, this won't kill you as you'll be hanging on, and the boomer can explode and make you stumble off the edge, but a charger, you're off. You're gone and you are dead. That is it. Survivor gone. How about the finale of Dead Center? With the gas cans, white gas cans cannot be destroyed. If they're picked up and thrown, they become highlighted orange. And if you spit on them with spitter goo, they will take damage and eventually explode, really setting back the survivors. Long progression on that damn finale because that one's really hard. Dark Carnival, and actually a lot of maps honestly, have areas known as the point of no return, which is where once you cross a certain threshold, you can never come back. When that happens, it's often behooved of the infected to make sure they can try to snag someone like a smoker or a hunter before they actually go through that area, while the surviving players need to really be careful and go at the same time and make sure they don't fuck up. There are also areas like the barns and the roller coaster ride where being something like a smoker on the ground can pull someone off, not only doing damage as they land on the ground, but forcing them to make their way up, delaying them a pretty significant margin. Hard Rain is Witch Central. You can go ahead and be a special infected and like hide behind the witch or something, and they might shoot you instinctively, startling the witch, and that's basically a free down. Again, Hard Rain, the finale, try to stay on the upper part of the gas station, because on the bottom of the gas station, there are a ton of cars, and those tanks can smack you and instantly down you with said vehicles. I can keep going on this shit too. The strats available on like No Mercy and the Parish and stuff, there's some awesome stuff you can pull off there, but that's just going through all the crazy map knowledge, and you learn that stuff by playing the game. If you really want some more in-depth nitty-gritty stuff, let's talk about the infected.
I had to put down my own wife. I put a bullet in her head because one of these bumpers bit her.
As an infected, actually figuring out the statistics of them is really interesting. So when I first started playing Left 4 Dead, I just assumed that all the infected did roughly the same damage because they all had an incapacitation ability, and I didn't know the actual stats of them. And now that I'm aware, there's a whole new appreciation for playing as the infected. For example, the jockey actually has the lowest DPS in the game, besides the boomer, but that doesn't count, at only 4 damage a second when he's on scratching at you. But the ability to maneuver a survivor where you want is really handy. Off a cliff, sure. Downstairs, sure. That roller coaster in Dark Carnival, perfect. Off the bridge on the Parish finale, plenty of places you can move them. And honestly, even small things like moving them into a building or around a corner so you can't be shot from a distance to get extra damage is huge. The second lowest DPS will be the smoker, who does 5 damage a second. Of course, the smoker, like the jockey, is all about pulling somebody from an area and also getting distance. While the jockey has to run up to you but can move you wherever, the smoker can get you from range but has to pull you in a straight line. Doing only 3 damage a second during the drag and then 5 when he actually has you is not that great damage overall, but the utility, right? Pulling somebody out of an important area or getting somebody from a really high up position, grabbing someone from a roof, that utility can come in huge handy, or just dragging them from the group. The spitter is an interesting one. Obviously, she's mainly for keeping you out of certain areas, but the damage increases the longer you're in it. It starts off small with like only 7 damage for the first second, but then it goes to 15, and then 25, and then 28, and then I think down to 17, and then 5, or around there. Overall, if you stand in spitter goo for the entire duration, you're taking 97 damage, which is just monstrously high. Next, you have the charger, which actually has an important power with his displacement because, you know, knocking you off a building is super powerful, but also he's super tanky too at 600 HP. Slamming you into a wall does 10 damage, and he'll eventually do 15 15 damage per slam every 2 seconds. So in reality, it's about 7.5 damage a second, despite the fact that it's not quite that consistent though, because it's in every slam. So the intervals are a little different. And finally, we have the Hunter. The Hunter you probably knew as the basic Left 4 Dead guy, that iconic scream, all that kind of stuff, right? He actually is so much more devastating than I ever thought. And it makes sense. The Hunter is very squishy, and he has to go to the opponent, and he doesn't displace them. The Jockey has to go to the opponent, but you can pull them out. The Charger has to go to the opponent, but he's tanky and can send them away. The Hunter pounces on you and forces you to stay in that position, which generally makes him a pretty easy target. Your reward, 10 damage a second. And not even that, actually, it's 5 damage every half second. The Hunter in the period of 10 seconds can 100 to 0 a survivor. And not only that, but it's more consistent because it's every half second. So you're getting more damage out that way. The Hunter shreds. That's why one of the most popular combos is Spitter Goo into Hunter Pounce, because the combination of those two together is just devastating. In about 3 to 4 seconds, you will take a fully health survivor into incapacitation. And who knows, maybe that survivor backed up a little too far, was away from their teammates, or all the other survivors were boomered. Speaking of, let's talk about the boomer. The boomer always does very little damage, but if you want to know how the boomer works, you need to know how the normal infected work. See, normal infected actually have the same HP as the boomer, about 50. And they do, well, they do different damage depending on the difficulty, but they do 2 damage in versus. Now, 2 damage, not really that crazy. You know, the slow effect is good too, but it's nothing really major. Boomer, of course, blinds you for 1, and then attracts the horde to you. Thing is that when you're doing 2 damage to a survivor from like 30 infected, that racks up. Also, the blind lasts 12 seconds. So it's a very common practice to try to blind as many people as you can and then use an incapacitation zombie, smoker, hunter, charger, jockey, on the person that can still see. And if nobody can see, they just grab somebody because they won't be able to retaliate because they don't know where the fuck they are. It is devastating when you can get a 4-man boom and then just zombies are flooding into there doing damage. No one can see anything. And then someone gets hunted and they're screaming, hunter on me, but no one knows where the goddamn hell they are. And since the boomer effect lasts 20 seconds with the blind lasting 12, how much damage does the hunter do again? 10 a second. Need 10 seconds to bring 100 to 0, 12-second blinds. I mean, come on. The power there speaks for itself. Then, of course, you have the tank. The tank does 24 damage per smack with an instant down if you hit them with a car or something like that. The main thing to know as a tank, is that a green health survivor moves a little faster than you. A teensy tiny bit faster. So you will never catch them unless they make a mistake. Always go for the yellow or red health survivors because they are slower than you and you can take them down very quickly. If they're green, either get lucky with a rock, which I normally say never throw rocks, but you know, you might have to, or try to get them with a car or something. You're really hoping for your teammates, the smokers, the hunters, to be immobilizing those green health players and therefore allowing you to get an in. Now, if you're a survivor and you want to deal with that tank, everyone knows about the Molotov, right? The Molotov is the big tank counter because it slowly burns him down to death because he has 6,000 HP. But don't sleep on Boomer Bile. You're not using it to get the regular zombies to hit the tank. He's got 6,000 health. 2 HP means nothing to him. But he does care about the blinding effect because Boomer Bile will actually blind the tank and remove all of the outlines. He can't see jack. It's like he got hit with a boomer. It's hard to see in general. He can't see outlines. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on. So often he doesn't know, are you a green health person or not? And you might be outpacing him this entire time while your teammates are shooting at him, and then he just won't be able to take any of you down. Like I said, the depth of this game, the power that you can have in these combos, the hunter spitter combo or boom bile on everybody and then smoke the person who can still see and drag them from the party. There's so much depth to the versus mode here. And then you get to the maps.
Deja vu. I've just been in this place before. Hi around the street.
There's a lot of good maps in Left 4 Dead, and a lot of them are really iconic. I'd say Dark Carnival is the best Left 4 Dead map in general. I just think it's objectively the best map. But you know what the best versus map is? Hard Rain. Oh yeah. Hard Rain is a map I actually don't like in campaign that much, but on versus, there's some fuckery you can do. There's a lot of points of no return, which is great. The opening, that little gas station, we call it the fuck hut, because in the fuck hut, shit gets fucky. There are a ton of witches, which is great for strategy. The way that the rain builds up at the end to make it hard to see is a big part. The building with the elevator has lots of moments for jockey, smoker, and charger play. The cornfield and the finale, Hard Rain, is the epitome of a versus map. It is the most fun, and that's where boys become men. I would also highly recommend Dead Air. Dead Air has lots of fuckery afoot, and versus in there can be really dumb. Now, it doesn't mean the rest aren't good either, but I would stay away from any map that is under 4 chapters. You know, Crash Course, Coldstream, The Passing, they're fine, but they're too short to have a really good game, and then you won't be able to deal with the disparity in points like I mentioned before. 5 chapter areas are definitely the best, but you can do some 4 chapters like No Mercy or Dead Center, for example. The Parish is also a great one, but the Parish is hard. It's my favorite map in all of Left 4 Dead. I love the Parish, but that's a hard map. That one takes some effort, especially that bridge at the end. Listen, I know this video is just me talking about how much I love Left 4 Dead and just fanboying all over it, but could you blame me? No, of course you can't blame me, because this has been so much fun right now, and now I'm starting to want to start a Left 4 Dead league. Can you imagine that? Having like a tracker for health and such a good idea. Such a good idea. Have you had like commentators? Oh, I know a lot of you are gonna say, hey, I don't have 7 other friends to play Left 4 Dead with. I can't really enjoy this level of versus. Yeah, you can. They got Discords, man. They got chat rooms. They got people who want to play. They got a MySpace. There are people out there. Now, if social anxiety is stopping you, that's another thing. But going out, reaching out, finding some people to play with like that, oh, it really adds a lot to it. This gives me like Halo 3 random infection custom games with your boys' energy. Something that I thought was dead along with its servers, but no, I'm still getting it today. And I still play it all the time. If you want to see me play it often at night when I'm on stream, I'm playing with a big group, having a drink, come check it out, twitch.tv/Bricky. Love to have you there. It would be just super fun for you to experience the same hype that goes into this as I, well, feel. Thank you everyone so much for watching this video. I know it's a shorter one, but after the Arcane video, I mean, come on, I need like a smaller amount. Skater, thanks again for your fantastic editing. I always appreciate that. Of course, you've really saved me a lot of time, and I'm glad that we're on the same wavelength. As for my Patreons, you are all amazing. You can see yourselves on the screen right now. If you'd like to buy some merchandise, orchidate.com. We're actually having a deal with it that's ridiculous right now. If you want some Warhammer dice, we sell Warhammer dice right now, but also tons of shirts, hoodies, check it out. And let me go ahead and answer some questions. How does one define a certified bruh moment? I always assume it's like a thing with a user, you know? It's in the hands of the user of the bruh. He who speaks the bruh defines the bruh. What's the best chili you've ever eaten? The one that's covered in cheddar cheese and has rice in it. And it's like a little bit spicy, but not too spicy. I should eat more chili. I don't have much chili. When you're making a sandwich, do you try to align the bread together so it's symmetrical? Or do you just slap 2 pieces of random bread together? Oh, I want to keep it symmetrical because I always cut it sideways. Everyone knows that sideways, like triangle sandwiches, are the best types of sandwiches. What's my favorite slang word? Example, cringe, based, pog, etc. Cringe?
Come on. Obviously, you're a skater.